You are listening to the Martial Arts Lifestyle Podcast, where each week we have a conversation with everyday martial arts practitioners. From the first motivation to train, martial arts enriches our lives and becomes a lifestyle. Welcome to the individual stories of those martial artists living that lifestyle. You are listening to the abbreviated version. For those of you checking this out on YouTube, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. Full-length versions of this podcast can be subscribed to at our Patreon page, is www.patreon.com/malmag. Or individual full-length episodes can be purchased at our Gumroad page at malmag.gumroad.com. Before we begin this week's program, I would like to remind you to check out martialartslifestylemagazine.com to see articles on the martial arts. Click on the store tab to find products for the practice of Southeast Asian martial arts, featuring Timmy B's brand sticks. Check out the courses tab, currently featuring a course on the Dos Manos method of the Filipino martial arts. Also check out our Places to Train page, featuring top quality martial art academies from around the world. And of course, check out our events page for seminars and events coming up around the world. To see your school listed in our Places to Train page or your event on our events calendar, contact us at malmagonline@gmail.com. This week, I get on Zoom and I connect to Northwest Arkansas again, and I talk to legendary martial artist Marc McFann. We talk about how he got involved in martial arts, his early days competing in judo, many great stories about the legendary camps held in the 1980s and 1990s, his training with Pa Herman Sawanda in Indonesia, and we are joined in conversation by former podcast guest and my good friend Josh Mahoney. Sit back and enjoy. Welcome to the Martial Arts Lifestyle Podcast, and today I'm connecting again to Northeast Arkansas, which is an incredible hotbed of actually really talented martial arts. And I know it's not like an area that comes to people's mind. However, I've talked to several people from there that are just phenomenal martial artists. And today I have a legendary martial artist, at least in the circles I come from, Mr. Marc McFann. And then Josh is kind of hanging out here to help be part of it as well. So we'll say hi to Josh as well. So thanks for coming on the show, Guru McFann. We appreciate it.
You bet.
All right. So it's a very biographical show. So let's just kind of talk about how is it that you got interested in martial arts?
There was a YMCA deal when I was 13 years old, and it was like 12 weeks for like $12. And it was like
wow.
It was like a show, but this was 1967, 68, something like that. And so 12 weeks for $12, I had $12. So that's how I got started.
Wait, now is this when you were sneaking out to go to though?
That's an important part. That was a little later because.
Oh, I see how this is going to go. I got it. Josh is your conscience.
There was there was an after school choir program, all boys course that I was involved in, and I didn't really care about it too much, so I was skipping that. I ended up, after my 12 weeks was up, I ended up skipping choir to keep going to karate class, and eventually I got caught, but it was no huge deal. So
I think you've got a good T-shirt there you can sell. I skipped choir to do karate. I like it. I think,
yeah.
You know.
Well, you had, what was the fever? You were supposed to be active, though, too.
Yeah, when I was about 12, 13, I had rheumatic fever. Supposedly was, I don't know. My joints swelled up. And then it went down and another joint swelled up. And I'm like, whoops. So I had to lay in bed for, I don't know, a couple of semesters. And I didn't take well to sitting still.
Right.
And so I got him around a little bit. So but I made good grades. I had a tutor every day, and he gave me the test. I studied it, and he gave it back to me. I took it, and good grades.
There you go.
But
yeah,
he was supposed to be like laying around taking it easy when he was going to choir.
Yeah, but
choir, I'm saying air quotes.
Yeah.
And then went to karate instead. So
yeah,
you
can't keep a teenager down.
No, and it's interesting to even think about like the medical industry back then, and that's not that long ago realistically, but when it comes to things like medical technology, it might as well be the dark ages, as far as hundreds of years ago, and how they wanted you for almost everything. Just lay still and don't do anything and just rest, and now you get any kind of orthopedic surgery, you get a knee replaced, they want you up and walking like straight away. So, you know, like,
I can attest to that. That's for
yeah,
sure.
and I think we can almost think that was bad advice, even though it was best advice they could give you at the time. You know, it was probably better that you got up and moved around and did karate.
Yeah, yeah. And shortly after that, I was working in a, well, it was my sophomore year, freshman year. I started working half a day at a junior college in the electrical department, changing light bulbs and ballast and fluorescent lights and stuff. And I met a JITS guy in the grounds crew up there, and that's how I got
Oh, wow.
induced to that. So it all happened kind of about the same time.
Yeah.
And then, so that was like old school Japanese jiu-jitsu. I'm taking it.
Yes, but me and Nick, the black guy from the grounds crew, we'd mix it up, and we'd start out in karate and end up in judo on the ground. So, you know, so we were punching and grappling too.
Yeah, it's interesting when you play around how you figure out, wow, that happens. We end up down here,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and then we bluffed ourselves for decades beyond that, still that wasn't going to happen for some reason, as the martial art industry as the whole.
Yeah, yeah.
So did you go from that to judo, or?
Yeah, when I joined the service right out of high school, and spent 23 years traveling around on the Air Force dime.
Oh, wow.
And so my first, you know, you go through about 6 months worth of training. So I got to meet all these other guys in training from different places all over the world. Army, Air Force was on the same training basis. So we shared the same gymnasium. And so I met boxers and judo guys and different martial arts, kung fu guys styles I never heard of. But, you know, I only got to stay, you know, a few weeks and then I move on. Then my first permanent station was in Panama in '73. And
Wow.
I did karate there and a lot of judo. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. And the era is really interesting too, because it seems like, you know, you listen to Drew Dan when he talks about his experience in military and training. It sounds very similar. You know, there was always somebody coming in through bases. And so people were training in these multiple things. So it seems like it was just a natural thing for at least military people to do that and not think anything of it in that era, for sure.
Yeah.
And then Bruce Lee comes along and says, hey, it's okay to do it.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I know you stuck with judo for quite a long time after that, but
Yeah.
so after Panama, where did you go next in training?
After Panama was really good for judo competition and karate competition, but I did twice as much judo competition because Panama is the only place you can. I had my motorcycle and I went and jumped in the Pacific Ocean in the morning and the Atlantic Ocean in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And so we used to have tournaments on every alternating month on each side. So it was really busy. And after that, I went to Sacramento, California, to the top judo places in the world, and certainly in California. Haru Makimoto ran the was called the dojo, and it had kendo and karate do. The women trained in their own space and did their own thing, and so it was really cool. And then the Zenbei dojo with Phil Porter. He was an Olympic coach for years for judo for the United States, and I trained with him. So I trained 5 nights a week there. Those between the two.
Yeah.
Wow.
Was that what years was that?
Okay, so that would have been 76 through 77,
Okay.
78, maybe.
And the Pan Am Games were after that?
No, those were in 74.
74, okay. So
Yeah.
tell us how you know the Pan Am Games, if that's okay.
Yeah, I wasn't in the Pan Am Games. I was there hosting. I was there in Panama, and our judo club hosted the Pan American team, or basically the U.S. team for the Pan Ams. So we got to train with all of them, and that was enlightening because they were,
Wow.
I mean, they were the best that the U.S. had to offer at that time. So we spent like a week and a half getting tossed around, and they weren't polite. Like, you know, we a lot of times back then we were letting people land and facilitating their landing.
Right.
These guys would dump you on your head, on your neck.
Yeah.
Damn.
That's Pat Burris and some of those guys,
Yeah,
right?
Pat Burris, Jim Woolley, I think maybe Warren Blaisdell, Tommy Martin, Jimmy Martin. Um, no, Paul Mariama was before that.
Mm-hmm.
So after I left Sacramento, let me think real quick. That's when I went to Belleville, Illinois, near St. Louis.
Okay.
And that's where we had another level competition. The level in Sacramento was so high.
Yeah.
And I was getting beat. I looked on the Zimbabwe walls, and there was pictures of my teammates, youngsters. Said 1974 national champion, 1975, 1976. They were all national champion, and they would kick my ass for a year and a half. And then I went to St. Louis and walked in the first week of my tournament. Walked away with the gold. I just trained at that level. I coasted for a good year on that.
Yeah.
I think that's a really interesting thing to think about and discuss, because I mean, there's just the internet and social media is so crazy with these thoughts that the sporting aspect of it, or the training that you get for it, has no application. And I'm thinking, I don't think you've ever had a professional anything grab onto you or punch at you or throw you or take you down, because that's just a whole different level that's, I think, shocking to you if you've never dealt with it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's totally overwhelming. And like, when you used to tell stories about like Pat Burris and being unhappy with how some of the other people were treating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had a little discussion with the committee, referee committee. Pat Burris, he had a grip, and he would pull the sleeve and then reach over and then stick out his leg like for Haragoshi. You follow judo?
A bit, yeah.
And so it broke the elbow. He broke the elbow of the guy from Argentina.
Oh, wow.
And they let it go, and he won the match. And then a couple matches later, he did the same thing to the guy from Cuba.
Oh, dear.
And they basically called the meeting. The meeting says, "We don't know exactly what you're doing, but if you do it again, you're disqualified."
Oh.
So, yeah.
But I think they were being rude to the other players, right? Was that how that went? I mean, y'all were such cowboys back then.
Yeah.
Then. Yeah, that's changed.
I mean, international competition is just another kettle of fish, as they say.
Yeah. And it sounds like where today we kind of let an authority, and in this case would be like a judge or referee, right, try to handle that. You guys all kind of handled it yourself back then, and then I think that kind of builds a thing where you go, okay, well, maybe we'll stay clean, because if we don't, it gets ugly.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, for self-defense purposes, my base has been judo. And then I've added things in and around it. But my judo's been pretty solid, I think. And I think today it still serves me, the instincts still serve me well.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Yeah. Just before we go to the next thing in there, but like, I've told you about Italo and Ishmael. They're here from the GF team that have schools, and, these guys are world champions. Or Italo's wife's world champion, and was teaching seminars at Jiu Jitsu Con 2 weeks ago. But it's kind of wild to watch Sifu and Ishmael, who's 26, roll, because sometimes Ishmael will do something that, like, he goes to a place where Mark's been, Sifu, you've been
he calls
it a million times.
He calls it old school.
Yeah. And all of a sudden, like, he's got an armbar on Ishmael, and Ishmael's like, what the heck? And Ishmael rolls me up like a paper ball and suffocates me. And so every time I see that, I'm like, oh, that was awesome.
Yeah,
wow.
you get lucky sometimes.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see.
Josh, can I ask? Let me ask something in here too. So judo is kind of like a big, strong base art for you, and I think it's an amazing art, and it's one of those things that I think a lot of people at the academy have said, "Man, I wish I would have taken this up." And I'm like, well, you still can, but there's the question, because we all look at it as like, this is clearly something younger people should. Yeah, I think we put it on and say, like, it's a younger person art. Do you think a person that's older could start it? Is there a good way for an older person, say 40s, 50s, to be able to start up judo and do it in a way that's safe?
Oh, I think so. And just, let me clarify too, because I didn't index into judo the same way Sifu did, but I am perfectly happy to stand up and stand and grapple with anybody and be okay.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with that. But I'll tell you, like, because I was going to see, and I still do, I go see Shintaro Higashi in New York, and he's got a coral belt in judo. I mean, he's phenomenal. Did all kinds of competitions and things, and the way he's kind of structured how he teaches is really fantastic because he finds a lot of ways for people. That reminds me of Huba. He does randori to position a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And he sort of increases the options because first you can only move backwards and forwards, and then you can move backwards and forwards and left and right. Then you can start moving diagonally and around. But all of it's to position because there's two ways he's kind of approaching that philosophy. He's like, one, if I can't get you in a position to do a throw, it doesn't
You can't
matter
do the
if
throw,
you've done it
right.
a thousand times or not.
Yeah.
Like it's useless to you.
And for me, my basis, my concern has always been self-defense, not really sport.
Right.
Yeah.
Sport was just a way to practice. And the thing you got to remember about judo is it pairs up so well for those who cross training like Thai boxing because of the clinch work and the collar work, and then if you can't get the knees in, you can't get the elbows in, you've got the throws. And we're doing clinch work with Greg Nelson, about every quarter, and that's been great. And thanks to Josh, he's like you said, we've got a little hub here of talent, of world-class talent that comes through or lives nearby. So I'm quite lucky to have Josh,
Well, they're all here because of him, though. We wouldn't be here. So it's circular.
Well, you guys have put together a great thing. I mean, you put together a great community there, and it's just amazing how many people, I can look and are finding in that area. And I'm like, whoa, this is really pretty interesting. Because again, it's not, if you think, hey, okay, what's a hotbed of martial arts? I don't think Northwest Arkansas is something that would come to people's mind. But, I'm happy to help put that on the map because it's like everything else that we talk about, keep an open mind. Don't always just think, oh, it's got to be this big city or that big city. It's like people do, and there's talent from everywhere. Like, you go back to the PK kickboxing days, and how many of those kickboxers that were champions weren't necessarily from LA or New York. They were like from Illinois and Canada and places like that. And so that was pretty cool. The whole middle of the country had this great stroke of talent in martial arts as well. So,
yeah. And it is probably, I don't want to jump ahead, but some of that was because Terry Gibson ended up out here and then you kind of followed Terry.
Yeah. I continued training and teaching and everything throughout my career. But when I retired, I had to pick a spot. And so I wanted to be near the outdoors and close to Terry Gibson, who I'd been friends with. I met at Great Smoky Mountain Camp back in.
Oh, yeah. I definitely want to talk about that because you put up some great pictures the other day, and that's like just a legendary thing.
That's Josh.
A lot of people.
Josh shows up. And so it was gone, gone way back with him. So that's how I retired in Arkansas. And then I kept the road hot for many years, going back and forth to Tulsa. It was like a second home. And a couple of different schools, but we had everybody in the world in. We had Ajahn Chai in. Terry had Ajahn Chai in twice a year, had Guru in once a year, had Pasuwanda in twice a year sometimes. We had a camp for Pasuwanda. Guru came as a student, and I was his training partner.
Wow.
That was fun.
Okay.
That was fun. Is Guru going to see this?
I will definitely give it to him. Yeah, I usually anything like this, I just give it to him.
Yeah, because this will be his 40th year too coming. October will be Guru's 40th year coming to Tulsa.
Right. So yeah, Tulsa's the longest seminar for Ajahn, and it's probably close for Guru. He's been coming for like 4 years.
Yeah.
So we'll be up there for that.
Yeah.
Nice. That's great.
Well, yeah. So I want to get us too far off of timeline, but I wanted to get that in there while we're talking about it. Do you want to, let's see, we got to like maybe 78 or so.
Okay. We were in, do you want war stories? Do you want war stories?
War stories are always...
I'll let you, it's your show. I'll let you talk about whatever you want, to be honest with you.
Okay. So like I said, my thing has always been self-defense. And so when I was in Panama, I was a drinker at the time, and so I always end up on the weekends in the Navy and the Marines, and the Army was out there. So it's just, guys have a few drinks and say a few words, and
Yes.
we get to
Like
fighting. But it
young
was
men
all
do.
there weren't too many really down and dirty fights. They were pretty honorable. Everybody pulled people off if somebody got over enthusiastic and stuff like that. But I enjoyed that because it gave me a sense of how to manage adrenaline and stuff like that. So when I was competing, I was fairly calm.
Yeah.
And then in St. Louis, good competition up in Chicago. And that's where I started getting into traveling a lot more. I went to Camp Bushido out in Colorado Springs, so it's intensive judo camp. I went to Camp Olympus up in West Blue Ridge Mountains of Virginia for a 7-day outdoor judo camp. There's a guy from DC, Morris. I think Morris Allen.
Okay.
Maurice Allen. He's in DC. Maurice Allen, big judo guy, big sambo guy. He was the main guest instructor at Camp Olympus. Yeah. He's still big and he's still active. And then I went to the Philippines.
Oh.
So.
And you did that with the military?
Yeah, I was still in the military. So after
Very cool.
they want me to go to the Philippines. So I went to the Philippines. Not much judo there. So I started teaching judo at the rec center on base, and I got involved in Kali and Okinawan Kempo.
Okay.
Balintawak Kali and Okinawan Kempo. Master Restone was my instructor there, and I was there for 4 years. So I got pretty deep in that. And during that time, I traveled a lot between Okinawa, Japan, and Korea.
Okay.
We go make shopping training trips and go visit dojos and stuff in there.
Right.
So then
sounds like well-planned maneuvers.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
And I had to take, it was my point in the military where I had to take a short tour. I'd been on these long tours. So that's why I've been to Japan. It was a little colder. I mean, I don't know. I kind of wish I chose Japan, but I chose Korea, and I spent 13 months in Korea doing nothing but Hapkido mostly.
Wow. Okay.
Nothing but Hapkido. I taught judo. Yeah, I taught judo on the base. The first week I was in Korea, I went to their judo class, and the guy that took third in the Korean Nationals was there, and I beat him. So I just opened up my own judo thing on base, and then really got deep off base into the Okinawan Kempo and Balintawak Kali.
Did you wear the wrong patch during that period when you were doing the judo?
Yeah, I was in Korea. When I was in Korea, I picked up one of my judo gis, and it had the Japanese symbol patch on the thing, and I didn't pay attention. So I did notice that. I did notice that they were. I was out in the middle, and everybody else was coming out to fight me. I'm like,
wow,
okay, I guess I'm running a gauntlet or something. And man, I was beat up. I held my own, I thought pretty good, but I was beat up. And one of the Korean kids, young guy came up to me, he goes, pull up my patch, he goes, Japanese, number 10, Korean, number 100. And I'm like, what? And he was saying, Korea's better.
Korea's number one.
And I'm like, I look at it, oh.
And this concludes the abbreviated version of the podcast. Please consider supporting the program by going to www.patreon.com/MALMAG and subscribing to the show. You can also purchase this individual episode or any individual episode at our Gumroad page. That's malmag.gumroad.com. Thank you for listening to this episode with Marc McFann. Coming up next week, I get on Zoom and I connect to Utah and I catch up with an old friend of mine from the Inosanto Academy, Mr. Saeed Badia. Our Malmag online store at martialartslifestylemagazine.com has a full selection of Timmy B's brand sticks for FMA and Krabiker Bong. Timmy B's brand now selling in Japan as well. Beautiful Timmy B's brand shirts and Dos Manos shirts are available. We also have sarongs, malongs, and wooden training knives. An online course in the Dos Manos method for FMA is available under the Courses tab. More courses coming soon. Check out the Places to Train tab to find schools near you, and click on the Events Calendar page to see what seminars and events are happening all around the world. And of course, visit our main page for articles on the martial arts. Music by Arthur J. Martial Arts Lifestyle Magazine and the Martial Arts Lifestyle Podcast are trademarked and copyrighted by TNT LLC.